All right, let's jump right in. If you've ever read the Gospel of Mark, you know it moves at a breakneck speed. It's like an action movie. Huge, world-changing events like Jesus' baptism and his temptation in the wilderness fly by in just a few short verses. The story just doesn't slow down, which of course brings up a really interesting question.
Right? Why would this high-speed narrative suddenly grind to a halt and focus with incredible detail on one single 24-hour period? Well, that's the big mystery we're going to unpack. It's pretty clear Mark is trying to force us to pay attention to something he thinks is absolutely crucial. So, after this super fast prologue that sets the whole stage in just 13 verses, the entire feel of the story changes. It's like the camera slows way down and zooms in on one little town, Capernaum. This shift in pacing, that's Mark's way of telling us, hey, lean in close, because what happens next is the key to understanding, well, everything.
The mission officially kicks off right there, by the Sea of Galilee. This is where Jesus starts putting his team together, and the way he does it tells us everything we need to know about his defining trait, a totally new kind of authority. You see, he doesn't ask, he doesn't hold interviews, he just commands.
Now, to really get how radical this was, you have to understand the culture at the time. The norm was for students, disciples, to go out and find a famous rabbi they wanted to learn from. They'd basically have to prove they were worthy. But Jesus, he just flips that whole script upside down. He's the one who does the choosing.
And look at this simple pattern. It's a two-step process. Step 1, Jesus speaks a direct command. Follow me. And then step 2, which is just wild. They act. Instantly. No questions asked. No hesitation. These guys are fishermen. They drop their nets, their entire family business, and just go. This is what's called an effectual word. It's a word that doesn't just suggest something, it makes it happen. That's real authority.
And that brings us to the main event. This one single, action-packed day in Capernaum. Think about this for a second. Mark spends more time on this one day than he does on the first 30 years of Jesus' life combined. Why? Because this isn't just any day. It's a microcosm. It's a perfect little blueprint of his entire mission.
So, the day starts in the local synagogue, and when Jesus teaches, the people are floored. This table really breaks down why. Look at the teaching style. The scribes would debate tiny details, but Jesus just declared things as they were. And the source of their authority? The scribes always quoted other experts. But Jesus, he spoke for himself. So you can see the crowd's reaction makes perfect sense. They were used to the scribes, but they were absolutely amazed by Jesus. They'd never seen anything like him.
So right when the crowd is trying to wrap their heads around this, the whole scene is shattered. A man with an unclean spirit starts shouting. And here is the great irony of the whole story. The first public confession of who Jesus truly is doesn't come from a follower or a priest, it comes from a demon. This supernatural being knows exactly who Jesus is, and it knows he's a threat.
So after this very public, very raw display of power, the scene shifts to a private home. Jesus goes to Simon's house, finds his mother-in-law is sick, and heals her. But he doesn't do it with a big, booming command. He does it with a gentle touch. Mark puts these two miracles right next to each other to show us the incredible range of Jesus' authority. It's powerful enough to command the forces of chaos, but tender enough to care for one sick person.
But here's the thing. When you wield that kind of authority, it doesn't just make people follow you. It also stirs things up. A power this absolute is disruptive by its very nature, and so from this very first day, the seeds of conflict are sown. The battle lines are drawn almost immediately.
And what's really amazing is that in just this one day, we see 3 different fronts of opposition emerge. First, you've got the religious authorities. Jesus' authority doesn't just challenge their teaching, it challenges their very existence. Then there are the supernatural forces. That exorcism wasn't just a healing, it was the first shot in a war. And then, and this one might surprise you, there's his own team, the disciples. They already start to misunderstand the mission.
This happens the very next morning. Jesus had been healing people all night, and then he goes off by himself to pray. When the disciples track him down, Simon says, "Everyone is looking for you." Now on the surface, that just sounds like, hey, you're popular, but it's actually a hint of a rebuke. They think he's blowing it, that the mission is about building momentum and keeping the crowds happy.
And Jesus' response is the last thing they expected. Instead of rushing back to his adoring fans, he says, nope, it's time to leave. This moment tells us everything about his mission. It's not driven by what's popular. It's driven by a divine purpose. He came to preach everywhere, not just where he's already a celebrity. So let's pull all these pieces together. Mark's decision to slam on the brakes and zoom in on this one day, it wasn't random at all. It was a brilliant storytelling choice meant to give us a framework, a key, for understanding everything that's about to unfold.
And this is the bottom line. This is why Mark slowed everything down. This one day in Capernaum introduces every single major theme that's going to drive the rest of the book. You've got the unmatched authority of Jesus. You've got the immediate conflict that authority creates with both human and supernatural powers. And you've got the ongoing misunderstanding of even his closest friends. It's all right there, in miniature.
And that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. If a single day of teaching and healing could spark opposition from religious leaders, from demons, and even from his own inner circle, what on earth is going to happen when Jesus takes this mission on the road and heads toward the center of power in Jerusalem? This one day shows us that the story isn't just beginning, it's on a collision course.